welcome to this month's Crafting Together with All Brands YouTube Hop. So, Crafting Together with All Brands is a place where lots of creatives from various different genres within the craft industry come together to share inspiration and ideas. And once a month, we like to be over here on YouTube providing inspiration along a certain theme. So, as you may have seen from the thumbnail, today we are being inspired by winter colours. So please do grab your crafty stash, grab some bits and pieces, be inspired by everyone on the hop and craft along with us. So today I have decided to pull out my watercolours. I'm actually playing with twinkling H2Os, and I start off by spraying them to activate them and also my page so that I can use a wet on wet technique. Now these paints are absolutely lush. They are gorgeous, they are pastel, they are iridescent, just beautiful, but unfortunately they don't show overly well on the video setup, so I am extremely sorry about that, but I hope that you get the idea. I'm trying to build up really soft pinks, and these iridescent paints and pearlized ones are really beautiful for doing that. I'm also just spraying some of the green as sort of splattering on because I want to sort of layer the way I do the snow so that we get a lot of depth in the overall page. I am using my stamp set Tweets Hut just to get the trees ready to put into the picture because we're going to build a little winter scene today. So now I'm using the paints again, this time slightly thicker so the opacity is a little bit higher. I am trying not to overload it too much with water. Watercolouring is not my forte, but it's something that I have made it a goal that I'm going to try and use more and try and get to grips with. Do you have a crafty goal? What's it going to be? What techniques do you want to kind of develop a bit further? I would love to know in the comments below. So we are filling in these trees. I'm trying to add a little bit of depth and also a little bit of highlights, focusing on those iridescent paints to create that. I'm now also just painting in the tree trunks as well. I'm then going to add a little bit of depth by going for a slightly darker paint, just to be able to create those shadow areas. Now this is part of a hop, so please do check in the description box below. There will be loads of inspiration on various techniques and ideas to keep you creative this season. They're a very talented bunch of ladies, so please do check them out. So I've painted little strands of almost like grass sort of effect. It was just to build up the scene, and dotted some pink to create the berries. I'm now working on the foreground, so what I've done is just ripped and torn a piece of paper, and that is just going to go in the front, but to give that a little bit more depth so it's not just a stark white, I have put some spun sugar and tumbled glass on this paper just to sort of add a few hues to, you know, yeah, as I said, create depth. So we're going to stick that down there, ready for the next stage of the project, which is this gorgeous product, Mixed Media Souffle, and this is in diamond. So this is like a gel with gorgeous glittery inclusions in it, and it will dry clear. So it's going to end up with a really subtle shimmer by the time we have finished. And I have just used a stencil, and I'm going to frame the page with the design. And then I will leave this overnight to dry clear. It's one of those products that it is best left to dry on its own. If you try and force dry it, it ends up with a kind of milky consistency or look, which isn't really what I'm going for in this particular project. To add texture, I just sort of spread it across the front, and now I'm going to make that look more like snow by pulling out the gesso, and I'm just going to put it in a couple of different areas so it knocks back that sparkle a bit, but really adds a lot more depth to these snowbanks that we are trying to create, and also gives us a little bit of grounding that we will need for our little mouse so that he's not floating in midair. Again, to emphasise that grounding, I am pulling out some more watercolours. This is my Ecoline pens. Mix the blue and grey together so it matches the page, and just kind of going underneath that mouse to add a little bit of grounding. And then we are going to stamp the sentiment onto the page. This is not perfect stamping, I will admit that here and now. That is because I am working in my journal and it's not an even service. So you just have to embrace imperfection sometimes. The final step here is we are adding some white splatters. So these ones will layer on top of the ones that we did with the iridescent paint earlier, which adds quite a lot of depth. So I hope you enjoy this project. If you love winter projects, then do check out what all the other girls have done. And I also have a mixed media winter project that you might enjoy right here.